Overcome negative thoughts, feelings and emotions. Conquer fear, anger, anxiety. Stoic wisdom. Have you ever felt trapped by negative thoughts, as if they're shadows you can't escape? Maybe it's the relentless anxiety about the future, anger that seems to flare up uncontrollably, or fear that holds you back. These emotions don't just drain your energy, they steal your joy. But you're not alone, everyone faces these battles. Stoicism, with its timeless teachings, offers more than just philosophical reflections. It provides practical tools for confronting these emotions head-on. Lesson 1: Your mind can create joy. The human mind is a powerful tool capable of a wide range of emotions, from profound sorrow to serene joy. But often, we forget how to use it. Instead of being our ally, our minds can become the source of our suffering. This isn't because our minds are flawed, but because we unconsciously let them spin in negative cycles. Imagine sitting in a quiet room. Your mind, like a keyboard, can create thoughts of failure or regrets. But why not press the keys that bring joy, like gratitude or happy memories? Just as a musician knows how to play the right notes, you can train your mind to produce the emotional melodies you desire. When negativity takes over, it's not because life lacks positivity, it's because we're pressing the wrong keys. For instance, you wake up feeling overwhelmed by unfinished tasks. But pause for a moment. What if you focused on the fact that you're alive, that you have a chance to change your day? That simple shift in thought can transform your feelings. True happiness is about mastering your mind. Lesson 2: Master your mind. When you realize that your mind has the power to create both joy and suffering, you start to see that happiness isn't dependent on external circumstances but on how you manage your thoughts. But how do you truly master your mind? Stoicism teaches that suffering doesn't come from external events, it comes from how we perceive and react to them. Think about times when anger took over, when you lashed out, yelled, or did something you regretted. Afterward, did it bring relief? Of course not. Anger doesn't solve problems, it often makes them worse. As Seneca wisely wrote, anger, if not restrained, is frequently more hurtful to us than the injury that provokes it. So, is it worth trading your peace for a fleeting emotional reaction? Emotions like anger aren't external forces attacking you, they're just states of the mind. When your mind is left unchecked, it runs wild. Your mind is like a wild horse. If you don't train it, it will gallop uncontrollably. But when you take the reins and learn to observe your emotions rather than react impulsively, you gain control. Ask yourself, when anger or anxiety arises, why am I feeling this way? Is it worth it? What would happen if I chose to remain calm? As Marcus Aurelius said, if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself but to your estimate of it. You have the power to choose how you respond. That's your ultimate strength. Life presents challenges. Some days, everything flows smoothly. Other days, even small annoyances can throw you off balance. Remember, while you can't control everything, you can control your response. Mastering your mind requires consistent effort, like building muscle. It's a daily practice. And when you stop reacting emotionally and instead choose a calm, thoughtful response, you regain control of your life. Lesson 3: Stop letting your imagination run wild. When fear, anger, or anxiety strikes, have you ever stopped to ask where it's really coming from? Often, we're not afraid of what's actually happening, but of what we imagine might happen. Think back to a time when you felt anxious, Did your mind create a cascade of worst-case scenarios? Maybe you feared a difficult meeting or dreaded a message from your boss. But how many of those imagined scenarios came true? Likely none. As Epictetus said, men are not disturbed by things, but by the views which they take of them. Most of our fears are just figments of our imagination. Imagination is powerful, but when uncontrolled, it turns into a double-edged sword. It's like watching a horror movie in your mind, creating fear out of thin air. The key is to control this imagination. Why not use it for good? Picture positive scenarios instead. Imagine that stressful meeting ending with laughter or that dreaded email bringing praise. Recognizing that your mind distorts reality is the first step in taking control. Fear and anxiety often come from our imagination, but they aren't real. Let go of unnecessary struggles. When your mind is overwhelmed, gently remind yourself, this isn't real. I don't need to waste my energy on this. Seneca said, we suffer more often in imagination than in reality. If life is already challenging, your mind should be the safest place, a kind, comforting refuge, not a tormenting battleground. Lesson 4. Reframe how you label emotions. To overcome negative emotions, change the way you label them. The meaning you assign to emotions shapes how they affect you. Let's say you wake up to a rainy morning, and everything seems against you. Frustration builds as you see the rain as an obstacle. But is the rain really the problem? The rain is neutral. It's your perception of it that turns it into a challenge. By reframing it, you might see it as an opportunity to cozy up and relax. This simple shift in perception changes how you feel. Every emotion comes from a thought, and thoughts are just waves in the mind. The real challenge is that most of us don't recognize them. Emotions don't have inherent power, they're amplified by how we react.